Michael Opitz, and this is the Michael Opitz Show. And today we're interviewing Georgia State Representative Alan Peake, who has introduced medical marijuana bill here in Georgia. And that's always a controversial issue virtually in any state. But there are some very, very positive benefits to this bill. And Alan, could you tell us, I first heard of this bill through a friend who brings internet news, and I called you because we want to make sure that we get accurate information regarding this bill, because it looks to me that it's going to solve a big need, especially, and this has become a cliche, for the children here in Georgia. But I think it's probably going to sweep the nation as well. But would you share a little bit of your thoughts?
I'll give a little background. I couldn't have told you how to spell cannabidiol 4 weeks ago. I had a constituent contact me and said, I wish you'd look into this medical marijuana issue. And I said, well, I'll be more glad to let me do some studying on it. And I began to look about their story. And their story was they were going to have to move. They have a daughter with a seizure disorder. They were going to, had gone through all types of medicine, gone through every diagnosis, every prescription from a doctor, and nothing was helping. They've heard of the story out in Colorado of this medical cannabis that's been grown that has seen incredible results when given to individuals with seizure disorders. Kids going from 200 or 300 seizures a day to none, to limited, going from 50 seizures a week to maybe 1 a week. I mean, really incredible results. So I checked into the story, checked it out, and then I met little Haley, a little 4-year-old girl. And when I met her, and she looked just like my 4-year-old granddaughter, I thought, you know what, if this was my granddaughter, if it was my child, I would be moving heaven and earth, pushing legislation to be able to allow her to have access to this medical cannabis that's seen such incredible results. And so that's what motivated me to go say, okay, maybe it's time that we see what we can do. And so that's the impetus for HB 885 at this point.
Well, this bill has, from everything I've been able to read and understand about it, is a very, very positive bill. But what do you say to the naysayers who says, well, who say this will put the nose of the camel under the tent and open it up for common use of marijuana in Georgia?
We've had a lot of people tell me that, and what I was told by my colleagues and leadership and everything was, okay, we'll open the door here for you, but you got to get it very tightly restricted, very regulated. It needs to be managed by doctors. It needs to be limited in scope to seizure disorders, and it needs to be made sure it can only be applied in an oral form. This is actually what it looks like. That is what we would be legalizing in our state. Now, that's not the cannabidiol, because if I had that, I'd be creating a felony.
Sure.
And be subject to arrest. That's actually vanilla extract. But it looks just like that. That's the way it comes. It's not smoked. Doesn't come in a leaf form, but it's in an oil form. And so we believe we've drawn up a bill that meets all of that criteria: tightly regulated, well restricted, managed by doctors. And so I think that we've got the approval or support of MAG, the Medical Association of Georgia, the largest physician group in the country, in the state. We've got the support of Children's Hospital Network, who does, treats all the pediatric epilepsy cases in the state. So I believe we've got a bill that when folks read it and learn about it, they realize we're not going to allow a 6-year-old to be smoking a joint on the street. We're not going to be setting up pot shops. We're not opening the door to increase our potential for legalization of marijuana for recreational uses. This is limited in scope. This is an opportunity to help families in our state not have to leave to go to Colorado.
What kind of responses are you getting from your fellow state representatives?
Well, it's really been moving, quite frankly, I'll tell you. My colleagues, many of them who were very skeptical, who thought that, as maybe a lot of, as you said, many thinking we're opening the door, once they met the families, once they met the children, once they heard the stories, they have done like I did, a complete 180 of going, this is something we should be doing. Instead of asking the question, why is this moving so fast, so furious, we ought to be asking the question, why are we moving so slow? Why don't we move faster to address issues that are of major concern to our citizens. Isn't that what we as legislators ought to be doing?
Oh, absolutely.
Is reacting to the needs of our citizens. And so, it's really been touching. A lot of my colleagues have come full circle, and we had over almost 90 signatures on the bill when we dropped it last week. And so I think that shows the support of people going, hey, this is an issue we need to look at and address for our citizens.
Well, once people understand, and once I begin reading more in-depth information on this issue, I don't want to use the phrase "I was converted," but I begin to understand the kind of impact that this can have on the lives of children and the families, and I thought, why are we moving so slow?
Right.
I really did,
Yeah.
because here it is, once it grabs your attention, it grabs your attention. And once I saw those videos and the testimony of and the comments from the parents, I have a 7-month-old granddaughter, and if she had a problem, I would be angry if this kind of medical care and drug was not available to her to alleviate her symptoms. So all I can say is thank you. Thank you, and I hope that you're successful in getting this through, and if there is anybody who is opposed to it, please let me know. I'd like to talk with them and find out their level of opposition and why.
All right, thank you. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your willingness to educate our citizens about what we're doing. I think that's the route we need to go, is make sure they, our citizens know that we're not putting pot shops on every street corner. We're not having 6-year-olds smoke a joint. This is an oil-based cannabidiol oil form that really can make a difference in the lives of our families in this state.
And we appreciate your courageous stance and insight and vision in moving forward on this very, very important issue. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you for being here.
Michael Opitz signing out.